Hello, I am Claire Williams.
I am Robert Kubica.
Hi, I'm Christian Horner.
I'm Johnny Herbert.
I am Alain Prost.
I am Lewis Hamilton.
Hello, I'm Nico Rosberg.
Hello, I'm Jackie Stewart. And you're listening to Beyond the Grid.
Hello everyone, Tom Clarkson here, and it's my pleasure to introduce the season finale of Beyond the Grid, presented by Bose Quiet Comfort 35.2 wireless headphones. Yes, our first season is drawing to a close, but don't fear, we'll be back in the first week of January for two very special shows, before Beyond the Grid's weekly slot returns later in 2019, flat out as ever. Well, it's been one hell of a year in Formula One and a hell of a year for Beyond the Grid too. And to round things off for this final episode of 2018, I thought I'd pick some of my favourite moments from the 24 shows we've done so far. It's been no easy task because I've loved talking to all of the guests with nothing but a couple of microphones for company and the occasional Spice Girl. We kicked off the series back in July, welcoming reigning champion Lewis Hamilton to his first ever podcast appearance. Typically, Lewis didn't disappoint. In fact, he was in an extremely thoughtful frame of mind.
Formula One, I would say Formula One is, Formula One has given me a life, given me a purpose, which is pretty special, but Formula One has also broken me. It's broken me and it's built me, and it's broken me and it's built me. You know, it's...
What do you mean broken you?
Well, when you go through it, you put so much into it, it breaks your heart, it kills you when you fail, when you stumble, when everyone's watching when you stumble, and then when you get back up and you succeed, it lifts you up. So you fall and you break a bone and you heal and you keep going, and so that's what I mean by it.
It's the emotion of sport, I guess, isn't it?
It is. The passion you have for what you do and the will to succeed is just something that I it's hard to express, but everyone has it in some shape or form.
And do you love the emotional highs and lows? The fact that it's so unpredictable?
I don't know if I can...
Or is that hindsight again?
I don't know if I can say that I love the highs and lows, because the lows are the worst. And I'm generally quite an emotional person, so I would say there are athletes and drivers and just performers that there are some that have, if you imagine, it could be not the heartbeat line, but if you imagine like an oscillation, a line that's oscillating up and down, up and down, up and down, there are some, say that's an emotional line, there are some that have higher ups and downs, it's off the charts, and some of them are more balanced. I would say probably the best performers, like Serena, like Muhammad Ali, theirs is more calm, and the calmer you can get it, I think the better it can be for you. But if you're, particularly at the beginning of my career, I was peaks up and down, just freaking hard to keep it focused, you know. But if you can then learn to breathe and calm that squiggly oscillation line in emotion, you can then focus a lot better. I guess it's almost the same as if you're shooting at a target, but you're moving around. If you can breathe and calm it down, you're much more on target.
Hold your breath.
Yeah, I think Formula One it's helped me grow. I've gained a lot more confidence within myself. What it's given me is the platform to be able to do things that I want to do, live a life that I could have only have dreamed of. But it's also given me an opportunity to work with like big, huge teams of people, big companies, travel around the world, see different cultures, dibble and dabble in different lingos, try different foods. You
love travel, don't you? I get the impression
I do.
Anyway.
I just really appreciate culture, and particularly when you get to visit different places, it's great. I like and appreciate seeing different cultures, different religions, all these different things. We're all so similar, but also so different in so many ways.
Well, Lewis, I think we can say F1 well and truly built you up this year as you stormed your way to your 5th world title. But what of the last man to beat Hamilton to a world championship? How did Nico Rosberg go about beating teammate Hamilton in 2016?
This is really a true story, yeah. Because we were so on the edge with everything, and we were overweight with the car, so our body weight really mattered. And it came to the long summer break, and you can't go on a diet in the middle of the season.
Why not?
It just destroys you mentally.
Okay.
It kills you, yeah. And it's so important to play the long game mentally in a season like that. So I couldn't afford to go on diet. And so the only solution was, I thought of it myself, just let's lose some leg muscles. So I did stop cycling. And then after the summer break, we went to Suzuka, and I was on pole by 200ths of a second. And 1 kilo of the leg muscles, which I lost, is worth 300ths of a second per lap.
And you won the Grand Prix from pole.
And I won the race.
Yeah.
And that really messed Lewis's head a little bit on that weekend there. And so this was a really decisive step towards the championship.
Wow. What a great story. And is there anything else you can share with us about your marginal gains? I think that's fascinating in terms of, is there anything else you could do within the team?
Well, another big one from that year was really the gloves, yeah, because I worked on my gloves to remove any kinds of seams or any kind of patches that were between my finger and the clutch pedal, to really get the best possible feel and make it as thin as possible. And that really helped me as well, because going away from the way the standard Puma glove was done to making it custom made just for myself in the way the clutch finger, just the finger, yeah, is modeled, that was a huge help for me. And I had a string of like 4 or 5 races where I nailed the starts, and then Lewis was wondering what the hell's going on, why is he doing starts so well, and then he took over that glove design as well. So that was another thing that was, very helpful.
It was a case of no stone left unturned for Nico, and it paid off handsomely. Rosberg, of course, started his F1 career at Williams, and Deputy Team Principal Claire Williams was our guest on episode 20. I loved her description about the influence of her late mother, Ginny, on the team.
I don't think you could necessarily say she was steering the ship with Frank. It wasn't like she was in meetings, the factory 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, but she definitely was had an amazing ear. She was a great listener for Frank when he wanted to talk about stuff. And when he didn't, she would certainly, wade in anyway. There are stories about how Mum affected driver decisions over the years. There's some
Do you think she really
stories.
did?
Yeah, she absolutely did. If it wasn't for Mum, Nigel wouldn't have driven our car in the 80s. No way.
What was it about Nigel that she liked so much?
Frank and Patrick were going in one particular direction, and he'd come to the house, and I think
who
to
had come
have
to the house?
The driver, who I'm not going to name.
Oh, go on.
No, I'm not
It's
doing
a long time
that.
ago.
No, I'm not doing it. It's not right. Come to the house for kind of, the final supper, sign the contract, and he stayed over. And the next morning, when he'd gone, Frank asked my mum, what do you reckon? And she said, oh, for God's sake, absolutely not. And obviously Dad was a bit
Was he really
taken
rude at
aback.
dinner or something?
No, and Dad was like, why? What on earth did he do? And she said, well, the guy made his bed this morning. No racing driver worth their salt makes their bed, Frank.
I've asked Claire many times to tell me the name of the driver who made his bed, and she refuses to tell me. But one driver it most certainly wasn't was Gerhard Berger. The happy-go-lucky Austrian epitomised the carefree nature of F1 in the 80s and 90s, where he teamed up with Ayrton Senna at McLaren.
Me, I try to get the result. I try to not miss the party. Try to see if the people was nice looking in the party. I try to have a nice holiday. I try to make some money. So I try to capture a lot of things, and in some ways it worked out. The only small thing I'm missing at the moment is the World Championship. Well, I think it wasn't a question of speed. It was a question of the package. Obviously, Ayrton had a big advantage to me. He started when he was 4 years old with karting, and he had already 400 races behind him when he started in Formula One, where I started racing when I was 21. Obviously, I was with 24 already in Formula One, but in total, I think I had about 40 races from 0 to Formula One. So you never can get this experience back. So from this side, Ayrton was an extremely experienced guy. In combination with a lot of natural talent, in combination with a really good brain, he was very switched on. He was a street fighter, Brazilian street fighter. And then he had a big ability to concentration. I mean, he had an extremely strong concentration. And that made him different to all the rest. I mean, I think you could cut off his hand and he still wouldn't feel it until the race was over. And that gave him an extra boost.
Now, when you came into McLaren at the start of 1990 and you out-qualified him in Phoenix at the opening race, that must have been a bit of a shock for him. But were you surprised that you'd put one over on him so soon?
No, I was not surprised at all because, on this moment, all my teammates, in some way I could beat. Out of just my natural talent, because I never went to physical trainings, I never did anything, and I just talent. But that was also my big handicap, because it allowed me until this moment to handle it in the way I was handled. So when I signed up for McLaren, I have to say I was quite naive because I thought Ayrton's just going to be the next one, what's going to be in troubles. And I went to Brazil, and Ayrton was the king of the rain. First day was practice in the wet, I was quickest. Second day was practice in the dry, I was quickest. So I said, well, that's not a big deal, you know. Unfortunately, I crashed because really the car was made for Alain Prost, and I was stuck with my legs between the pedal because I really had not space in the car, so it didn't worry me. And so the race was over. I felt good. I went to holiday like usual to have some fun. Ayrton went back to Brazil, thought about everything, come back, and I never beat him again.
It's hard not to love Gerhard, isn't it? And McLaren certainly did. And that's where Carlos Sainz is headed in 2019. Carlos is the son of two-time World Rally champion Carlos Sainz Sr. And as he told me, he learnt how to get sideways at a very young age.
And we ended up doing a course with Porsche from 1990s, a nice driving course.
What's that like? Engine in the back?
Engine in the back, rear-wheel drive, really good fun. And we went through non-studded tires, little studded tires, big studded tires. By the end, when we got the big studded tires where it's really, really grippy, there was a track, a 3-kilometer track, and I was always driving. You know, he was having his coffees, trying to teach me. But by the end of the day, I really got really fast, and I was getting his lap times and my lap times. And I realized that I've got really, really close to him. We went for a qualifying lap, and I was like a tenth or two away from him, and he got really angry.
And you were how old?
I was 15 years old and driving in the ice, which is not my specialty really.
So how did Dad deal with that?
I was having a lot of fun, and he could see that I was getting closer, and he was laughing, but you know, with that kind of laugh that this little bastard, what is he doing? You know, he's getting a bit too close to me. He has his pride also. And he said, okay, now this exact same track, we're going to turn it around and do it anti-clockwise. And you don't have one lap to do a reconnaissance lap. We go straight away. This is what rally is about. He gave me 4 seconds on that lap, and I went back to reality.
Now, helping drivers learn the tricks of the trade is something my guest on episode 23, Rob Smedley, has become famous for. He's had an amazingly successful career, but who can forget the disappointment of Brazil 2008, when he and Felipe Massa were pipped to the world title by Lewis Hamilton? Not Rob, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, the immediate aftermath, you know, people always think that the hardest thing for me was delivering the message that he wasn't world champion. But what you got to remember is I was still at work, you know, I was doing my job. So actually that, as all I was interested in was where, you know, people were trying to drag me off the pit wall and saying, we've done it, you know, and like jumping on me and congratulating me and hugging me and saying, we've done it, we're world champions. But I knew we weren't. I knew that I had to see, you know, those 2 little dots on the GPS. You know, I was intently watching Glock and Lewis and seeing how that played out. And kind of, as everyone's trying to drag me off the pit wall in the last corner in turn 12 in Brazil, I thought to myself, you know, shit, he's ahead. You know, I think he's ahead, and I'm trying to intently watch it while you've got all of these, like, you know, mechanics and engineers like trying to drag me off. And then as they're coming up the hill, I thought he's definitely ahead. That's Hamilton. That's the McLaren ahead on the GPS. And then I like looked at page 1, and like, his name flashes up as having come 5th. And at that point, you know, it was a fairly simple message. It was just to say, oh, you know, mate, you've done a great job. You know, we've done a great job all year. We come here, you know, with a very slim chance of doing it. And actually, you know, we'd gone there with that in mind, that the championships is Lewis's. We're going to go out there and have a bit of fun. But in fact, there was always in the back of my mind, and actually what I put in the guys' minds as well, the lads who work on the car, was that we have a real strong chance here. You know, the form that Felipe's in, and it's Brazil. And, you know, you've got a guy who's in his second year of Formula One who can completely get it wrong, which, bless him, we almost did it at that age. We've got a real chance. So let's go into it and let's do, you know, our maximum. And it was about not conveying that to Felipe. It was about keeping Felipe away from that. But as we edged, you know, more and more through the weekend, it became more and more apparent that this is really on. So, and then kind of to, you know, we fell at the very final hurdle. And it was then, just delivering a normal message, just saying we've done a great job. We can all be so proud of each other, but we're not world champions. But hey, we missed it by a point, and we've lost out to a great competitor and a guy who's gone on to be, the greatest driver of his generation. So I don't think there's any disgrace there. Where the emotion come out was when I stopped work. You stop work and kind of, you take your headset off and you go away, and you kind of sit down, and I found that this feels a bit funny. This doesn't feel like, a normal win or loss. This actually feels much more profound than that. And then I got really emotional. And actually, I went away and I cried for about an hour. And I was just on my own. I just found a little quiet part of the garage that was kind of like boxed off. And I sat there, and every so often I'd like compose myself and think, yeah, I'm all right now. And then I start crying again. And then it took me about an hour to actually compose myself. And then, because it was just that intense emotion of competition for a full year. And I think I'd have been like that if we'd have won it, to be honest. I'm fairly convinced, because the emotion was, you've kind of put your mind, body and spirit into it, and everything, nothing else has mattered for 12 months, to get yourself into that situation. And then it's just the emotion that comes pouring out afterwards. So yeah, at the time I wasn't, right in the very immediate aftermath, I wasn't emotional, but for a couple of hours afterwards, I was very emotional.
We'll get back to my faves in a moment. First though, I wanted to talk stubble. Movember might be behind us, but if you're looking to keep sharp for all the Christmas parties, then now might be a good time to check out the online shaving brand Harry's. Harry's have a special offer for Beyond the Grid listeners. They have a trial set for £3.95, and to get hold of it, all you have to do is go to harrys.com/F1 podcast. If you're a regular listener to Beyond the Grid, you'll know that I'm a fan of Harry's. They sent me a trial set and it was fantastic. It's safe to say there'll be no Santa beard for me this December. The set is delivered straight to your door in a neat little package with everything you need to get going. When you open it up, you find a weighted ergonomic handle, ensuring maximum comfort and grip while you shave, and 5 precision-engineered blades with a lubricating strip and a trimmer blade. But it doesn't just stop there. Harry's also throw in a foaming shave gel which feels very smooth on the skin, and a handy little travel blade cover. All of that and you still get change from a £5. It's a pretty amazing testament to the company that the quality of their blades is so high and yet still sits at half the price of other brands out there. Get started shaving with Harry's today by claiming your trial set for £3.95. Support our podcast and get your trial set delivered to you, including a razor handle, 5-blade cartridge, foaming shave gel, and travel blade cover by going to harrys.com/F1 podcast. That's harrys.com/F1 podcast. Now, back to more of my faves. A man with better memories from Interlagos is Emerson Fitipaldi, who won the first Brazilian Grand Prix there in 1973. We caught up at the track and discussed everything from meeting the Beatles to driving for Lotus, but it was his poignant recollections of Ayrton Senna's death that stay with me.
It was incredible. I was testing Michigan Speedway for Indianapolis. I was running full tanks, and then Chuck, who was the team manager, said, "Emerson, your family is on the phone. Pete. And I was doing a full tank run Sunday.
Had you ever been called in like that in your career? No.
Never. When you say your family, I said something serious happened to my family. Then I went down, I stopped immediately, and then my wife said, Ayrton just died in Imola. I was shocked. We stopped. I went home, and it was a big shock because Ayrton, to me, was immortal. Was someone who could not die driving a race car. Get very emotional.
Even now?
I used to watch my Formula 1 test in Interlagos. He and Milton, his father. I was testing Cooper Sucker. He finished testing karts. He came here to watch me.
As a small boy?
He was 14, 15 years old.
Emotional memories for Emo. Looking forward, Robert Kubica is destined for an emotional return to F1 next season. 8 years after a terrifying rally crash that left him with debilitating injuries. Amazingly, he still finds positives in his rally career, believing it made him a better race driver.
You remember when I say I was not thinking about Formula 1 when I was a kid? I was searching or trying to become as best as I can. I was fan of rally, and I'm a big fan of rally, but I was searching something away of Formula 1 which will make me become better Formula 1 driver. So I was trying to learn things which the other drivers which I'm racing, they don't have it. And I still think in some very little circumstances, very little conditions, thanks to rallying, which I was doing very little, I scored more points in 2010 than if I would not do it.
Why?
Sensibility. Many times happened that I didn't stop to put intermediates. I keep going on slicks that everybody was coming and I gained massive positions. There are those things you cannot see. The only who can judge and who can understand is yourself. Because sensibility and sensitivity on steering wheel is only driver can know what he needs. And it's true that I pay a big price and I'm still paying it, but it was not purely for fun. There was behind something. I was not talking about it because what really happened is that the desire of becoming a better driver, more complete driver, the desire of finding something which others they don't have or that I can improve are my areas where I can improve, because I think every moment we can learn something. I was not happy to be as good as I was. I need more. And I thought rally will give me this. And it really gave me. The problem is that I pay too high price.
Kubica will be racing for Williams next year. And another mover on the 2019 grid will be Pierre Gasly. We caught up in Russia where he told me how excited he was about his impending move to Red Bull Racing, but also about how his friendship with fellow F1 star Esteban Ocon turned sour.
And we used to train on the same track, and we used to, of course, we were 7 at the time, and of course we used to spend so much time together, train to the same track, going on weekends together. We used to come at home many times, and same for myself. We went to his place. I even remember times that in the winter there were nobody coming to our racetrack, which was Anneville-en-Bourville, 30 minutes from where I live. We were the only one there, snowing like hell, and we were going for like 3-4 laps, coming back when our hands were completely freezing, and going in the truck, back of the truck with the heater just to get warm for 15 minutes, and then after going back on track for 5 other laps with the slick tires on and just driving on the snow. And no, honestly, we did spend like some fantastic time together. And
like
I think
brothers, like brothers, or
yeah, almost like brothers. Because honestly, at the time when you are young, you just need to drive all the time. So we used to go on Wednesday, on Saturday, on Sunday, and all the time together. And I think in the end it was really good because it really pushed us massively. We both have a really competitive mindset, and we of course we were really friends at the time, and we really wanted to beat each other. So I think it was the best thing which could have happened to us, to really push us and give us all the energy to try to beat each other, and in the end it raised both our level. I mean, the relationship unfortunately got a lot worse at some point in karting, when we started to fight for the World Cup, European Championship, and also National Championship, and I think in the end it was a positive thing that this thing happened to us, because it really pushed us so much harder to beat each other. And in the end, it's quite funny to see both of us now in Formula 1.
Let me tell you, it's not often that drivers speak so candidly about their personal lives. This is a sad tale that you hope gets sorted out between them soon. Ocon, for his part, made revelations of a different kind in episode 4. I mean, check out his appetite.
Yeah, exactly. But I have a chance is that I'm very light.
I'm 4% of fat. So yeah.
That's kind of marathon runner.
Yeah. It is. But that's a chance, because if I was normal, let's say, I would be 80 something kilos. So.
Are there any negatives with having that little body fat in terms of do you get colds and stuff?
Yeah, I get sick quite easily, but I sleep 12 or 14 hours a night also.
Not the night before a race?
Well, 12 before a race, yeah.
You sleep 12 hours? You're not nervous? You don't sort of wake up early in the morning? Or
No.
12 hours?
Yeah.
And if I had a biscuit, I'm so sorry, I'm very rude, but if I had a biscuit, would you eat it?
Yeah.
Oh, you would eat a biscuit?
Yeah, for sure. I eat 6 times a day.
So what, you eat little amounts?
No, not little amounts.
Well, how are you only got 4%?
Well, if I had the answer, I would tell you. But and like in the morning, I eat like omelets, 6-7 eggs, with mushroom stuff and
6 or 7. I'm just repeating
6,
in
7
case anyone
eggs,
for breakfast.
Yeah.
And then for lunch?
Then for lunch, normally one chicken breast is good portion already. I have 2.5 with full side of like mashed potato and stuff, plus dessert.
Plus a dessert?
Yeah, every 2 hours, 2-3 hours.
I'm absolutely gobsmacked by that.
It's quite crazy. And I lost, if you think about it, I lost 4.5 kilos since the beginning of the year. Why? Because I'm training less and traveling. I don't eat. Sometimes there's days where I cannot eat 6 times a day. And in the training period, that's what I do. I eat every 2 hours, 2-3 hours, but I cannot do that all the time in the season. So I lost 4.5 kilos.
And where's that muscle gone? Is it from your neck?
No, the neck stays the same. I think it's legs mainly.
Ocon will not be on the grid in 2019, partly due to Daniel Ricciardo moving from Red Bull Racing to Renault. It was a move that caught most of the F1 paddock on the hop, including Daniel's Red Bull boss Christian Horner, who I chatted to on the very day the news broke.
I guess, when you look at it, it's felt like that. Daniel's had conversations with Dietrich, with myself, with Helmut, and we've bent over backwards to make it happen. But if someone heart's not really in it, then, and it's just felt like that. And in the end of the day, we gave Daniel everything that he wanted and asked for, and it still wasn't enough, I think, in his mind to say that I want to keep going at Red Bull. So it wasn't about money, it wasn't about status, it wasn't about position or commitment or duration. I think he felt that, I need to take something else on at this stage in my career now. It might be an inspired choice. It might be one that
do you think he was nervous about Honda?
That he regrets. I don't think so. I think he knows the comparative performance of the two engines and reliability. So, we were even prepared to do a 1-year agreement, so he was available to Ferrari and Mercedes should they come knocking in 12 months' time. So, because obviously they haven't taken him up.
You haven't fallen out with him personally?
Not at all. Not at all. I thought he was winding me up, to be honest with you. He rang me literally yesterday afternoon to say, I'm going to Renault. So this is a wind up for the summer holidays. But that is, it then became very clear that was his choice, and you have to respect that. And Renault are a growing team. They've, they're committing, resource there. Maybe it's an inspired choice.
So what are you going to do about the second driver in the team?
Well, we're fortunate that we've got, several drivers under contract that are great talents. So I think we're just going to sit back and just evaluate what the situation is. Also see what comes out of the wood. It's an incredibly attractive car to be driving. And I don't think we're going to be short of requests and offers.
Will you consider someone who's not part of the Red Bull family today?
I think we'll look at everything, but I think that the preferred route will be very much to invest, as has been so successful, in home talent. Vettel, Verstappen.
Oh, I see.
Ricciardo,
Vettel's going to come and drive the car. No?
Ricciardo, Sainz, Gas. They're all products that have, delivered for us. They're all products of the Red Bull Junior program.
Okay. So of the names you've just listed, it's looking Sainz and Gasly, or am I reading too much into that?
I wouldn't read too much at the moment. I mean, both of those guys are very quick drivers. So, and I think this just gives us an opportunity to take a breath, and they're under contract anyway.
Red Bull are based in Milton Keynes, at the very factory that was once the home of Stewart Grand Prix. So let's listen next to an extract from my chat with Sir Jackie Stewart, who was fascinating on his shifting attitude towards danger in F1. Here he is discussing the aftermath of Jochen Rindt's death at Monza in 1970.
Ken Tyrrell, 45 minutes after that, said, Jackie, you've got to go back out. I was in the March, and it was the last practice session. And I have no embarrassment by saying that I was in tears when I got into the car. But then, and this is the animal of the racing driver, when the visor went down, I drove the car. I put a lap in, only I did the warm-up lap round, and the first flying lap was the fastest lap I've ever driven at Monza at that time. And there was no thought of that. Some of the journalists said to me, oh, that must have been a death wish or something. It had nothing to do with it. Your head clicked in, and you were doing the same smooth things that you were doing before to put in the fastest lap that you had done ever at Monza. So the animal is a strange animal in those days. That animal doesn't live today because they're not surrounded by death. They're not surrounded by bereavement. They're not surrounded by standing and offering your condolences to the mother, the father, the grandfather, the grandmother, the children. It just doesn't exist today. So in some ways it was the making of a man, in other ways it was the breaking of a man.
He's the oldest living world champion, and it's always a pleasure to hear from Jackie. Before we move to my next selection, I wanted to say a massive thank you for joining us on our podcast journey this F1 season. It's been great fun. And if I had to pick one standout theme that runs through the heart of these podcasts, I'd have to say it's the sheer focus and concentration that it takes to be an F1 driver. That noise off, focus on is exactly what our presenting partner Bose Quiet Comfort 35.2 wireless headphones are all about. Obviously, we can't all be F1 drivers, although we might be in our heads. But we all have our own fast-paced lives and jobs to tackle on a daily basis in a world full of potential distraction. The world-class noise-cancelling technology of the QC35.2s can help to block out distractions so you can focus on what really matters to you. With the comfortable plush earphones and up to 20 hours of battery life, you're good to go. And to help make your life even simpler, the latest generation of these headphones has been adapted to work with Amazon Alexa and Google Assistant. But don't just take my word for it. If you haven't already, go to Bose.com, where you'll get full details on all that the QC35.2s can do and find out how they can make a difference to your day. Now, talking of favourites. Jackie was a Geneva resident for many years, so let's listen next to a current one, Romain Grosjean, who was particularly effervescent when talking about his kids. Lewis Hamilton referred to children as parachutes. Not so for Romain.
I don't think so. I think they actually helps you to have a good life, a normal life, and that you do things for people that you care more than anyone in the world, you know. They are your blood, and there's nothing more important in life than that. And Formula One stops tomorrow, yeah, I'm gonna be sad and I'm gonna miss it, but I still have my family and my kids, and I'll be working and doing things for them. When you don't have them and you have a very tough Grand Prix, you come back home and you can eat that tough Grand Prix for a couple of days, a few days, and when you've got kids, they help you to recenter, and then you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go on the next one, I'm gonna do good just because I want them to be proud.
The thing about young children is they don't care if you've had a good day or a bad day. They just want daddy, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Well, saying that, after Barcelona, my oldest son, Sasha, got him on the phone. He gave me so much, such a tough time. Man, that was the hardest thing.
How old Sasha?
He's 5 years old. Oh my God. I was crying by the end. He's like, Daddy, what did you do? Why did you spin? Why did you crash? I told you not to do so. no, you shouldn't have done that. Oh my God, that was it. I was destroyed.
What do you say? Just, can I have mommy back, please?
Yeah, it was actually, she just picked up the phone and said, Sasha, you can talk like this to, but it was the truth.
Yeah.
Kids doesn't have any filter.
Yeah.
And he was right at the time. He was right, but my gosh.
Yeah.
That was a tough one. But on the other hand, as I say, I came back from Austria, I came back from a lot of places, Spa, and it's just, Daddy, you're the best in the world. And they jump in your arm and they're very happy and they just want to play with you.
I can relate to that chaos, Romain. Now, it was with the Enstone-based Renault team that Grosjean made his F1 debut in 2009. Johnny Herbert was another driver to step into the big time with that team, but it almost never happened after his horrific Formula 3000 accident at Brands Hatch in 1988. Here, Johnny relives the accident 30 years on, and it still sends shivers down my spine.
I only got sort of out because it just happened so quick. I think it was about 161 mile an hour impact, something like that. So you don't have a chance to react. But I can remember the first impact. I can remember all the energy in my head moving forward. I don't really remember. I remember the feel of the spinning around because my eyes are closed at this time. Then I remember another massive sort of head-on impact and all the sort of energy moving and my body moving. Then it spins around and stops. And then I remember opening my eyes, and then the first thing I noticed was I could see the trees through my monocoque. So as soon as I saw that, I remember sort of putting my head back and going, knock me out. Because I just realised, I thought I'd lost my legs from my knee down because I couldn't see my legs. I could only see my top of my knees. So my first thoughts were, legs are gone.
And how much pain are you in at this point?
Nothing.
So the body's
Absolutely
an amazing
nothing.
thing.
Amazing, powerful thing that it can just take away all that normal pain that came sort of a couple of days later away. It's amazing how it does that. So there was nothing that was giving me any ideas of actually, no, you've still got your legs on and your foot is actually still on the left-hand side, but it's losing a lot of blood and it's badly damaged. No. I had no clue what was going on, except when a marshal turned up. I remember him putting his head into the cockpit. "You okay?" Then he went to the front of the car, and then he was almost sort of gagging sick at the front of it. Then I realised it's probably not still a good thing, but still thinking actually I've lost my legs at that point. So it was only until I woke up in hospital, crikey, 6 or 7 hours later, that I saw my legs were up and they were bandaged, covered in blood, but bandaged up. So then I realised I still have my feet.
If Johnny's career was defined by the effects of that crash, Alain Prost's career will forever be linked to his battles with Ayrton Senna. I sat down with the four-time champ in Singapore, and unsurprisingly, his relationship with the great Brazilian was discussed at length. Here he describes why they were so often at loggerheads.
It was too difficult because you can't talk about. You have to listen what I'm going to say, because that's why I'm very upset about the film Senna, because you can't talk about this story, that means our story, when we were racing all together, without understanding what happened after I retired. All the discussion we had together with Ayrton during the winter before his accident. And then if you understand that, you understand why he was like this, what was his motivation, and obviously he's a strange person. If you ask me, all the names you have said before, Mansell, Piquet, Rosberg, Damon, all these guys, they are all different, but Ayrton is special, he's very special. So you cannot, I am very, I'd say, Cartesian, so it's very, very easy to read, what I think, what I say, and Ayrton is different. So you cannot judge, you cannot sit and talk. I have invited him once in my house in Switzerland when we were in the Geneva Motor Show. He did not talk. He did not say one word. He was sleeping in a canapé after lunch. And I went to the Geneva Motor Show and I talked to the Honda guy. He was a friend of mine. I explained to him what happened. He said, no, don't worry. He told me that he has done that. I said, yeah, why? Because he did not want to talk to you, because he does not want to become a friend. he has to fight against yourself. He doesn't want to become a friend, doesn't want to become close. It is very difficult when you have this kind of, but you understand everything, but you understand after. You always understand after in life, you know? And it's, that's why I don't regret. He was like this, I was like this. We had a different personality, different culture, different education, different way of driving, different way of set up the car, whatever. We were all different. But that is part of our success. That's why.
Prost won his fourth and final world title with Williams, the team with which Jacques Villeneuve claimed the title in 1997. For Jacques, it was the culmination of a dream that started when his late father Gilles raced and starred for Ferrari. I asked him if he shared any traits with his swashbuckling dad, despite him passing away when Jacques was very young.
Some, yes, I think, but I'm not sure why, because we didn't discuss them, or he wasn't present for me to learn it from them. But I did get from him a lot of respect for the risk and how do you push the risk, and the risk of the respect for the other competitors, because that was always very present in his mind, and that's something that was transferred somehow. I don't know if it was transferred through my mother or directly through him while he was alive, because I don't really have the memories.
Okay, so you then...
But there was always a feeling that you had to push the limit and take the risks, not because it would allow you to go faster, but just so you could do it while the others couldn't. You know, to show who was the bigger wolf in the pack. That's all it was. And that, I think I got from him while growing up. And I had it while I was skiing. You know, if we were going to jump cliffs, I would make sure I would jump the bigger cliff. Why? Just because the other one wouldn't have the guts to do it, and so on. So there was always a little bit of that aspect, and that was always present in my racing as well. Like going through Eau Rouge flat when nobody else was doing it. There was pride in it that didn't bring you any lap time.
From a man with a Ferrari legend for a father, to a man hoping to become a Ferrari legend in his own right. It's Charles Leclerc. For one so young, he speaks so eloquently, and here he is, discussing an area he perceived to be a weakness early in his career.
First of all, I think that when I first started racing, I think my weak point was my mental strength. I think I was quite weak mentally, very emotional, and that was not great for me. And since the beginning, I felt that it was my weakness, and I started to work on it with Formula Medicine first, and then later in the years with the Ferrari Drivers Academy that have also some mental trainers for different types of situations. Definitely, they don't train you, and there will never be any trainings to react better in a situation like losing a parent. But yeah, I definitely became a lot stronger mentally. First, thanks of that. Then there has been also quite a big loss, which was the one of Jules for me. That was extremely hard to take, but that then because of this whole situation made me also stronger mentally. And then when my father passed away, it was also extremely difficult, but somehow with all the work that I've done for racing especially, it has helped me also in a personal situation like this. And yeah, I think now, if you ask me now, what is your biggest quality, is probably my mental strength, which has became from a weakness to my biggest strength. To tell you whether I'm ready or not is something that I will not be able to say until I do my first race, because I've never experienced a race with Ferrari. It's definitely something mythical. If you ask me about the pressure, I think I can handle this. Because I have a mentality that I don't feel the pressure at all. I know lots of people says, yeah, but the pressure in Ferrari is on another level. But my mentality just allows me to take off all the pressure.
How do you do that? Or do we go back to Ceccarelli and Formula Medicine?
Not really, because I don't really take in consideration what people are expecting from me. The only thing I do is focusing on myself and try to give the best possible performance on track. And I'm also very honest. If I'm not good enough next year, then I should be dropped by Ferrari, and this will be completely understandable for me.
Charles is one of the drivers who is sure to illuminate F1 in 2019, and I can't wait to see what he does in that Ferrari. And I have no doubt that his name will come up time and time again when I sit down with guests in the new year. Well, that pretty much wraps up this Christmas cracker edition of Beyond the Grid. I hope you've enjoyed listening to my best bits. It's been a genuine pleasure sharing these conversations with you this year, and I can't wait to bring you more in 2019. And just to whet your appetite, we have a few very special things up our sleeves for Season 2 as well, so stay tuned. On behalf of all the team here at Beyond the Grid, thank you very much for listening this year and for helping make us one of Apple's best podcasts of 2018. And don't forget, you can listen to our entire back catalogue on Apple, Spotify, or your favourite podcast app. And although the podcast is taking a temporary break, you can still give us your feedback on Twitter using the hashtag F1BeyondTheGrid or via my Twitter handle at TomClarksonF1. Quite a few of you have been in touch to tell us how much you love our theme tune. Well, stick around at the end of the show for a bit of a treat. All that's left for me to do now is to wish each and every one of you a happy holiday season. Beyond the Grid is produced by F1 in association with Audio Boom. Until next time, keep it flat out.